Smith, what do you make of the move?
I'm not comfortable with it, to be quite honest with you. I wish Doc Rivers luck. I'm very fond of Doc Rivers, known him for many, many years. We've had his son on the show. I like him a lot. I wish him the best. Didn't have a great rookie campaign. Shot 36% from three-point range second year. This year he's down to 28%. He doesn't seem to be improving. There have been concerns. New Orleans was willing to give him up. Boston obviously had no priority whatsoever in keeping him. It seems like Dad is saving the son and really trying to resurrect his career, which in his face I have no problem with. Because, you know, nepotism or whatever you want to call it, it's not something that's foreign in NBA circles, even though this is a first in terms of a father coaching a son. I'm going to be incredibly careful about what I say more than that, because I haven't spoken to Doc Rivers directly about this, but I intend to, because I definitely want to gather an understanding as to why this move was made. You lose Reggie Bullock. I thought Reggie Bullock was a better option. Understanding you need to lose Jordan Farmar because Jordan Farmar just was not playing good basketball, and on top of it all, he wasn't considered the best person in a locker room as well. They couldn't wait to give him away. He's probably going to be gone. But you're losing Jordan Farmar, who had some success with the Lakers in the past, even though he didn't look too good with the Clippers. You lose a Reggie Bullock. You give up a 2017 second-round pick. And for what exactly? And so I think it's one of those situations where if you're Doc Rivers and you're having an incredible level of success, then nobody's going to refute it. The problem is that right now you look at Spencer Hawes, that isn't panning out, but so well, he's got to play better. And you look at some of the other moves that with Jordan Farmar's arrival, people question that about Doc Rivers as well. Doc Rivers, the coach, is elite, and he's great. Doc Rivers, the leader, is elite, and he's great. Doc Rivers, the GM, still has some things to prove. And to be in the L.A. market with everybody raising their proverbial eyebrows, as they were last night at the game, I can tell you right now, Skip, there were a whole bunch of folks in the media walking around the Staples Center last night saying, what the hell was that move about? They didn't understand it. Why would Doc Rivers put himself in a position to be scrutinized where pretty much everything else he has done up to this point in his career has been pretty close to perfect? Again, I don't know the answer to that question. I don't want to come to a conclusion. I certainly don't want to look at Austin Rivers as a finished product. I think playing with Chris Paul and Jamal Crawford and all of these boys in that lineup, I think he could do some good things coming off the bench, and we'll see what happens. Certainly being exceptionally well coached by Doc Rivers with assistants like Mike Woodson and Sam Cassell on the bench to help out. I definitely think the kid's going to improve. And I'm not saying that the kid is not going to be a good move. I'm just saying that if you're Doc Rivers, you put yourself in a position to be heavily scrutinized over this move. And considering the way the Western Conference has looked and the fact that the expectations for the Clippers have dissipated over the last few months because of how they've looked in comparison to how some of the other teams in the West are looking, to put yourself in this position at this particular moment in time, I'm not sure how wise it is, but I believe in Doc Rivers, and I've got some faith in Austin Rivers, and I sincerely hope that it works out for both of their sakes.
I dreaded having to talk about this today, but I knew we needed to.
Yeah.
I am with you 1,000% on everything you just said. I winced when I read the headline yesterday. This is a bad idea. I fear this is a can't-win proposition. There's already going to be so much pressure on this kid, and Austin is still a kid, to come in and live up to how much you gave, as you just elocuted for us there. Reggie Bullock and a second-round pick. It's a lot to give for a kid who, in 3 years in the league, 165 games, has averaged 7 points a game. Yeah. Austin was the, what was he, the 10th? Yeah, 10th overall pick in the draft. My God. And I'm with you. I'm a big fan of Doc's. I might be a bigger fan of Austin's, because we have had him on the show a couple of times.
Great kid.
I really like him. Yeah, he's just a good kid. He's fun to be around. He's smart. He's funny. He's everything that you'd want your son to be. But that's the problem here. When you give the head coach, also general manager, duties, and that's what's happened obviously this year with Doc, then all of a sudden your objectivity is going to be in question. And you said it best, Stephen A. Are you trying to save your son's career? Are you saying, I know how to coach him, I can get way more out of him than New Orleans got out of him or than Boston would have gotten out of him? Is that what you're saying? I'm not sure that's going to happen. I'll be the first to admit, I thought Austin would be much better than he has been. So I hope I'm wrong about this. I hope Doc can put him in the right situations to be far more successful than he was in New Orleans. But it just doesn't feel right to me, and I'm afraid that it's a move that's going to be under such scrutiny that Austin now has no chance to live up to the haul, so to speak, that was given for him to the Celtics.
And I couldn't agree with you more when you say you dreaded talking about this, because I don't want to talk about that. I mean, you got a father and a son situation. You know what I mean? That's a very, very delicate situation to find yourself in as a commentator or a pundit, because you don't want to say anything even remotely out of turn about a father-son relationship. But at the same time, we're talking about the modern day age of the media, the Twitter sphere, social media, the regular media covering the games and what have you. And, just to find yourself in a situation where you're inviting more scrutiny. I just hope that Austin Rivers understands, and I don't want to come across as playing favorites here, because I truly am not. But this is one of those situations where I truly, truly hope, and I believe, because I like Austin Rivers and I do think he's a good kid, I really hope that he understands what kind of line of fire his dad put himself in this situation, because he really didn't need this. And this is going to be scrutiny. And if there's ever a reason to absorb scrutiny, even if it's unnecessarily, what better excuse can there be than your own child? But Doc Rivers saying that this is purely a basketball move is going to fall on deaf ears, because there's nobody with half a brain that's going to believe that. They're going to assume you're looking out for your son, even though we know that Austin has potential. That's what's going to be the belief, particularly in L.A., and that is something that Doc Rivers is going to have to deal with. So it's going to be incredibly incumbent upon Austin to be ultra sensitive to that reality and to support his father in everything that he does, because he's really put himself in a line of fire just to get his son this opportunity, even if it was just for basketball. And there's no truth to that stuff.
All right, speaking of the Clippers, let's talk about a doubleheader of NBA tonight, shall we? First at 8, the Warriors take on the Thunder. Then at 10:30, the struggling Cavs take on the Clippers. It all kicks off with the NBA Countdown at 7:30 tonight on ESPN. Plus, the Packers are going to try to do the impossible. They're going to try and beat the Seahawks at home. Bad leg and all. Can A-Rod get it done? Mark Schlereth will join the desk next. He'll explain the keys to success. We'll be right back in just a few moments.